Welcome to another episode of Marketing Tips for Doctors. Today we have with us Chris Pantel. He is the co-founder of Linkifi, a digital PR and link building agency that helps brands secure high-quality editorial backlinks. With a background in SEO and digital marketing, he has built a reputation for creating innovative campaigns that drive both visibility and growth while exploring the role of AI in shaping the future of online marketing. So this is quite interesting. With a background in SEO and digital marketing, he has built a reputation for creating innovative campaigns that drive both visibility and growth while exploring the role of AI in shaping the future of online marketing. How did you get into this, Chris?
Well, that is a good question. So I finished university with a degree in economics, and then I did what any new graduate does, and I took over the family business of a fish and chip shop. I was doing that for about 10 years, and then I came across like an online mommy blogger's post about how much money she was making with an SEO blog. So I started my own personal finance website, leveraging my background in economics, and it started making money. Started making about $1,000 a month, and I thought, wow, this is it's not just make believe internet money; it's real. So
Yay.
I knew to yeah, so I knew to grow it more. I needed to get these things called backlinks, and I found this platform called HARO, Help a Reporter Out, which is where you can pitch the media in order to try and get quoted in their articles. And I won a bunch of links for my site from places like BBC, Entrepreneur.com, Forbes, New York Times. And at that point, I then came across my now business partner. I was looking to do some other types of link building, and he said to me, "How did you get all these links from like BBC and Forbes?" I said, "Oh, I've been pitching journalists." And he said, "Do you think you could do that for some of his clients?" And I said, I could give it a
Hang
go.
on, hang on. So even though they did not actually call you or accept your pitches, the fact that you actually just did a pitch gave you backlinks.
No, 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 no. I had to win them. I had to pitch, 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 pitch. But then I started
Oh, okay.
winning those links. Yeah. So then I did it for some of his spillover clients, and then Linkify was born pretty organically from there.
That's wonderful.
Mm.
What does digital PR actually mean for doctors, clinics, or private health brands?
Well, I think in the era of AI now, having a brand is just so important to be surfaced inside of the new places that people are searching. And doctors and clinicians are in a wonderfully unique place where they are so qualified and credentialed to speak on such serious topics that journalists are really actively looking to quote them in order to bolster the credibility of their articles.
How do expert quote links work, and why are they such a powerful fit for the medical and health space specifically?
Yeah, so journalists that are working on an article, they will often want to enhance the quality of that article by quoting one or two experts that supports the arguments that they're making, or maybe a counter argument to the point that they're making. So they will post those requests in various different places. And if you match the criteria for what they're looking for, so a credentialed, qualified health expert, an MD, doctor, clinician, then you can answer those requests with your opinion, with your commentary. And if the journalist likes what you've said, then there's a really good chance that they'll quote you in their article. And then by way of attribution, they'll link back to your site, to your private practice site, to your clinic site. And the reason that is a benefit is twofold. One, that the inherent SEO value. So we know that backlinks are a huge part of the SEO Google algorithm. And then two, it goes towards building authority and brand for you as a doctor, and then also your business.
Absolutely. When they quote you, they're spreading the perception that you are the authority for whatever topic they're talking about.
Hmm.
That's a great position to be in.
Yeah.
So, from an SEO, and by the way, for my listeners that may not know what SEO is, we keep bandying that around. That's search engine optimization for your website. And
Hmm.
visibility standpoint, what is the ROI of getting featured in outlets like Healthline, WebMD, or even The Guardian?
Yeah, another great question. So first and foremost, if you are featured in places like that, you are aligning yourself and your business with well-known, trusted, authoritative publications. So you can put a press badge on your homepage, like featured in. I call this the Shark Tank effect. Anytime you see a product that's wildly successful from the Shark Tank program, if you go to the website, it will say featured on Shark Tank. So if you've been quoted in Healthline or WebMD, you can put on the front of your website featured in WebMD, Healthline, and that gives an instant trust factor to people hitting, prospective clients hitting your website. You also get that Google algorithmic benefit. So Google is an algorithm and it works largely on backlinks. So the more quality backlinks like that you can achieve, the more Google will trust you and the more traffic it will send you. So if you do well and get referrals from people searching in Google, as you know, the higher up that page one you are, the more people are going to click on your website, the more customers you're going to get. And then again, it goes towards building brand and authority and trust. And people are now searching in places like ChatGPT and Perplexity and Claude and these different AI LLMs. And these rely heavily on trust signals. And there's no better trust signal if you're a doctor than being quoted in WebMD, BBC, Guardian.
Yeah, absolutely. HARO used to be the go-to for media requests. What's the current landscape like for health professionals who want to get quoted in the press?
Yeah, so HARO, which stands for Help a Reporter Out, helpareporterout.com. You can sign up there for free, and you can start pitching immediately. It used to be the main sort of aggregator of these requests. It then shut down, and then it came back. But in its current stance, it's there, it's alive, it's free to sign up. SOS is another one, Source of Sources, totally free. And then you've got some sort of freemium models, quoted, spelt with a Q.com. And then you can follow journalists on social media platforms as well. But yeah, great place to start is the two that I've mentioned, HARO and SOS. You can sign up for free. And they send emails 3 times a day, Monday to Friday, morning, afternoon, evening. And you can go in and you can look through and see if you're qualified or suited for any of the queries. Then you can go in, answer those queries. And if you are who you say you are and you have a good point to make, then there's a good chance the journalist will like it and hopefully include you in their article and link back to your site.
What if you have what you think is a good idea, but it's not listed as something that a reporter is currently looking for? Can you make a pitch for something like that, or does it have to be something that's already listed?
If you're going to start this way, then you want to do exactly what the journalist has asked. There's 2 types of digital PR: inbound and outbound. So inbound is where the journalist is proactively looking for an expert for an article that they are proactively working on, and those requests are going to come into you. Outbound is where you will come up with a story and you will say, I've got a really interesting point to make about X, Y, and Z. Would you be interested in writing this story? Now, the great thing about inbound requests by signing up to platforms like HARO and SOS is that you can start to build relationships with those journalists. So my advice would be to start pitching with really good commentary, doing exactly what the journalist asks. So if they're asking for 3 comments on how to lose stubborn belly fat safely, then only give them 3 comments on what they've asked for. Like, don't send them a PDF or an essay or a novel. Do what they ask. But if you provide value and they like your commentary, you then can start developing a relationship, nurturing that relationship. And then after some time, then would be a good idea to reach out and say, I've got an idea that I think would be really good for your readership.
What do journalists actually want from health experts when they put out the media request?
Oh, it can vary. Normally, it's not like anything substantially wildly crazy that they're after. They're not looking for new medicines that are going to do X, Y, and Z. Really, what they're looking for is that they're already working on an article. They've got a point or two that they're making, and they'd like to substantiate that with a qualified expert. So normally, it's either like verifying something or dispelling a myth, these sorts of things.
With AI generated answers on the rise, do media mentions still matter?
Yes, I think more so than ever. Links are extremely important, but even just being mentioned without a link is one of the top factors we think in the way that LLMs will surface and make recommendations about clinicians, practices, plastic surgeons, anything that people are asking for inside of AI search. Tier one sources, places that you've been quoted, is that real driver of trust and authority. So I think it's more important than ever.
That's wonderful news and something for a lot of us to aspire to.
Hmm.
At this point, what are two tips that you would give our listeners that they could implement right away?
Yeah, that's good. First of all, get yourself PR ready. So on your website, make sure that it's really, really obvious who you are and the people that are behind the business, and shout from the rooftops about your awards, your accolades, your credentials, your qualifications, your license numbers. Give as much detailed information and make it really, really easy for journalists to go to your website, click on the about section and find out who is behind that business and why those people behind that business are qualified, credentialed, and all of that good stuff. So that'd be my number one piece of advice. And then my number two piece of advice would be, don't get downhearted if you start pitching these requests and you don't win or hear back from journalists for a while. It's a very competitive space, and you're going to get lots of knockbacks. Oftentimes, the journalists, they won't even email you back. But you want to just keep going, because eventually you'll land that first sort of piece of coverage in a really big publication, and then you'll have the appetite for it then.
Well, both of those are great tips for our listeners to implement right away. And the most important one is number one, getting your website, you know, ready for, people who are visiting it so that they know who
Hmm.
you are, what you represent, and what you can do for other people.
Hmm.
That's great. And I've really enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for being with us today, Chris.
Thank you, Barbara. It's been lovely.
This is another episode of Marketing Tips for Doctors, and till next time.
Okay.
Bye.
Oh,